Okay, so our next article is How to Maybe Be a Generative Artist by Jody Christopherson on HowlRound. What is a generative artist? What is art?
Well, it's funny, she says, I'm a generative artist. I think I even know what that means, are her first two sentences. And it sounds like she makes stuff.
It sounds like what that means is just an artist who works in a variety of media. Like, she says she's an actor, a writer, musician, photographer, amateur journalist. And then she talks with other women who also, I don't know if identify with that term, but do sort of similar kinds of work. I mean, like, I'm trying to think of, like, I guess Miranda July is maybe a good example of, like, a generative artist, and just that she works in so many different media, and...
Yeah, and that maybe you're open to whatever, like, you're just a generally creative person who will just gravitate toward whatever media will tell the story the best way, or you get your point across the best way, or whatever you're doing.
But it also seems like she was linking, like, she was identifying a generative artist as somebody who doesn't wait around for funding, just kind of does the work.
Yeah.
But, you know, some work requires funding, so...
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was the implication of the word itself, so it's interesting that she would expand, because, like, to me it's like, okay, a generative artist is one who generates art a lot, regardless of the circumstances.
But does that immediately read to you as, like, and I don't need money to do it?
No, I think I couldn't tell, you know, but I guess that would be implied that I make stuff regardless, but I don't know, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. This, I don't know, obviously, we don't have a ton to talk about with this, because we're just sort of like, that's fine, and do you have any thoughts?
Not really, I mean, yeah, I'm not really sure what the thesis of this
Like, what's the
writing
point of
was.
this?
Yeah.
It's like, I make art.
Bye.
Cool.
Bye.
So do I.
Yeah, that's what I felt too, and why this is sort of...
Here is some context in which I could have not made art, but I did.
Yeah, that's
That was
fine.
kind of, yeah.
Good for you. Pat on the back.
I mean, that's helpful too, I guess, that, like...
You're making your art right now with this blog post.
Yeah. Okay, well, we didn't
Okay.
love that one, sorry.
Sorry.
We were confused.
The next article is... The Arts Connect People and Perspectives by Building Welcoming Communities by Jane Chu on whitehouse.gov. So this was written by the chairman for the National Endowments of the Arts, or the NEA, and Jane Chu. And so she talks about her experience of growing up in America and having Chinese parents who moved to the States when she was very young, and just like how they stayed in the States and what it was like for her growing up, and how she thinks that art can contribute to, you know, a greater understanding of cultural difference. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a pretty good summation.
I mean, I can summarize this article as, art is good.
Art is good.
Yeah.
We need art.
Yeah.
She says that her story is particularly relevant after the White House Task Force on New Americans recently shared its report with the president on recommended actions that the federal government can take to build integrated and welcoming communities across the nation. I'd be interested to know what those words mean, because they sound like nice words.
Yeah.
That report was not part of our
Yeah.
reading assignment, so didn't look into it. But yeah, I mean it's kind of a nice, like, autobiography of her life.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
nice.
Well,
that was the most interesting thing in there, was just that sort of life story.
Yeah.
You know, the message was pretty obvious and pretty sanitized. And
Yeah.
maybe it's just because
I mean, it is coming from the White House.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
but that was, I mean, I thought that was interesting, that the context, and that she's from the National Endowment for the Arts, the implication that, at least on the surface, that our government cares about the arts is interesting, and hopefully could be something, I mean, it's what we've been talking all along with these underfunded projects and people, where it's like, well, much of this is not so much, not to point a finger at the government either, but it's like not, these problems aren't, they're all interconnected, you know, it's not like the Actors Equity thing in LA. It's not really us versus you, it's like a systemic problem. So it's nice to see at least some lip service paid to the arts here and why they might be valuable besides being just something aesthetically pleasing, you know, which I think is something we're constantly fighting as artists, that people think. I mean, earlier we were talking about another article where arts is seen as extra.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, that's something nice to tack on. Where it's like, well, for people who are dedicating their lives to the arts, it's like, this is the only thing, you know, in many ways. Like, this is the thing to preserve, not the thing to tack on. So it's nice to see it in this context, I think. I hope that it has broader implications, and it's, as we've, you know, expressed, it's a little bit puffy, this piece, as well, but maybe it has some nice implications. It's possible, you know?
I don't know, take a read, decide for yourself.
Yeah.
This last article, I think, has some meat to it. It's called Equal Pay Day, How Women Get Stiffed in the Media and the Arts. It's by Sarah Seltzer on Flavor Wire. Full-time women, working women, are still only making 78 cents for every dollar that men make. And there's also a racial disparity there as well. For instance, Latina women only make 56 cents to the dollar.
It's crazy.
Crazy!
It's crazy!
So basically this article looks at how pay for men and women breaks down in a bunch of different media: book publishing, film, gaming, television, art sales, literary journals, and mainstream media. So she's talking about this gender gap in all these different fields, and how it's not just the type of job, it's not just what women get paid, it's also the types of jobs that women get, the genres of film and television that they work in as directors or producers or crew or, you know, post-production people, and also the gender gap in the target audience of the material, right? So she quotes a statistic that in 2013 the Directors Guild of America found that the percentage of TV episodes directed by minority females slid from 4 to a paltry 2%.
Gross.
So, I mean, what do you guys think of this? I mean, were you surprised?
No.
Were you?
No,
No.
unfortunately.
Unfortunately, you were not surprised?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like every week there's a new article about how this is a problem. I hope that people in our generation are smarter and more thoughtful about the ways that women and minorities and racial and ethnic minority people coexist, and I'm hoping, and this is probably rosy view things, that the fact that we are all so interconnected literally on the internet now just means that we are immersed in each other's cultures to a point where these problems will start to dissipate. But I don't know if that's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised at all. No, by this. No, it's I see that all the time. I mean, that's why there's that article about oh, will this hurt white people by not hiring them and hiring other people? It's what? You know, that's not the issue. You know?
Right. And it's like a lot of the other articles we've been talking about. It's pressing the issue. It's kind of, you know, I feel kind of not reading this because it's here's some depressing statistics again that you heard yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed.
Right.
And it's numb. But it's, you know, what we need is here are things we can do.
Right? Yeah. I think, I would agree. I think we know that this is the climate in which we're living, and there are thoughtful people who are I would love that to be different. How? You know, and maybe we're starting to see it, I mean, in some areas with things like these new, a slate of new television programs that have lots of people who aren't white in them. Maybe we are seeing that, but I would agree that you read this and you're I know. I feel tired reading this.
Well, you know, I wondered, I mean, obviously, the fact that, you know, women generally make like less on the dollar than men, that's a problem.
Yeah.
But like, you know, the gender disparities that they're talking about in sort of like these mainstream media, is that sort of similar to another article we talked about recently where you know, people are like bemoaning the fact that like young diverse audiences aren't attending like sort of more mainstream theater productions. Is it sort of like that maybe, in that like there's more of an indie scene that has, you know, a much more diverse gender group of people in terms of their gender and race, and does that make us feel any better about these statistics?
Well, I think there is definitely an indie scene, but it's the same kind of scenario as talking about the diversity in the theater industry, which is like, you know, that's great that there's an indie scene, but like where the money, you know, it's capitalist culture, money talks. So like where the money is getting funneled by the system speaks to what we value as a culture. So it's really, you know, it's a political action to have more women in lead roles, and by that I mean design roles, like acting roles and design roles,
And directing
executive
as
roles,
well.
directing in the mainstream, in what is considered the mainstream.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me happy that, you know, women like Lena Dunham exist.
Yeah.
As kind of tedious as I may find her,
Yeah.
I think that it's so great that she's not only a woman, a young woman, working in television who's achieved such success at such a young age, but also that she's not like this bombshell, that she's not like conventionally like super attractive, and that she is just like so open with her body. I think like, I hope that there are more people like her that find their way into the mainstream and, you know, change things for a lot of
It's
other people.
interesting though to think about like that idea next to the idea of people being paid also, because I would assume that she gets paid well, but I wonder if she, right next to somebody who is equally successful, I mean it's hard to like, I mean those metrics are impossible to like define,
Right.
but you know what I mean, equally
There's
successful.
no one like Lena.
There's only one, but like you wonder if this is, I mean, for example, it's hard to feel bad for somebody like Gwyneth Paltrow making $1 million on a movie, right? But like, it is a problem if she's has equal screen time with a male co-star and is getting paid less. You know what I mean? And so it's like you look at that and you wonder, like I wonder, is like it's great to see people like Lena Dunham. I hope that she's getting paid really, really well, and that she's getting paid as much as a male person in the same role, which is impossible. But I wonder if that's true too. Like it's almost like visibility is one thing and getting paid is another.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there are lots of economic implications as soon as you're just talking about just paycheck for paycheck.
I mean,
Assuming you're
I think they're both forms of power, and I
Yeah.
think they both need to be considered.
yeah.
And I think that there's a practical conversation that we need to figure out how to have, not just how do we teach women to get themselves into those positions, but also how do we teach men that they can make their careers, they can make their work about elevating other people into positions where they need to be, and that like more important positions for women doesn't mean like you don't get a job. You know, it's not. How do we change the conversation from like this is a competition, and we're taking jobs away from you, but rather you can make your work about like creating equality. You know,
And that these aren't really gender wars.
mm-hmm.
You know, that it's like I don't feel like as a woman I am at war with either of you, at least not because of your sex or gender.
Yeah.
I'm at war with you because of your
For
beautiful-
psychological reasons.
and your beautiful eyelashes. But I think that's a really important conversation to have too, because it's like I think it's really easy to pit people against each other, and I'm like, that's not what I want to do. I'm not interested in that. I don't want to beat men like at money or something. You know what I mean? I'm like that's.
Oh, I thought that's what feminism was, that you guys just wanted to kill all men.
I mean, I think that for most of us that's true, but like for me specifically as a minority feminist, that I don't. I know that Dan as a feminist does want to kill all men.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
So that's true. So we'll have that conversation next time.
Well, I have to get out of this room immediately.
Yes.
But thanks for joining us for the podcast. We've been talking about articles from cmuptm.blogspot.com. I'm Kevin.
I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Dan.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.